Hello, citizens, and welcome back. Today's topic is be careful what you wish for. What are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk about the firehouse primary again. And remember, it's a Republican firehouse primary. You can have a Democrat firehouse primary, but the Democratic Party in Lynchburg has not planned to have any primary. But the firehouse primary we discussed is to basically protect rights of minority groups of voters or just the basic integrity of the two-party system. Because in a firehouse primary, it's hosted by each party. So the Democrat firehouse primary, if there were one, would want only Democrats to vote to select their candidates. The Republican firehouse primary would want only Republicans to vote. But Stephanie Reed, has been spreading a lot of misinformation about the integrity of the Republican firehouse primary and actually asking Democrats to come and vote in the Republican firehouse primary. Now, why would she do that? Isn't she a Republican? So the question is Stephanie Reed really a Republican or not? These are the Republican principles, and they state things like fiscal responsibility. There's been no evidence of that, no evidence of budgetary restraints. She just approves anything the city manager wants to do to increase taxes and increase spending. Also, the belief that all individuals are entitled to equal rights, justice, and opportunities. That's part of the Republican creed. And the belief that free enterprise is the best way to create a high tide to float all boats. So, does she support these things or not? Now, the interesting thing is that at the at the Lynchburg Republican City Committee meeting last week, someone made a motion as to whether or not Stephanie Reed should even be allowed to run as a Republican candidate in the firehouse primary. And that motion was voted on. And 91% of those votes said, no, her record on the dais needs to be examined because she has not adhered to the Republican creed. And so the question is also, is she a Democrat? Is she standing up for the Democratic principles? That used to be social justice also, but it appears not. So who is she really standing up for? Oh, the city manager. Every opportunity to raise your taxes, increase spending, and increase his salary has been supported by Miss Reed on the dais. So Democrats have to ask, is that what they want? So we're going to take a look at the meeting on September 23rd. And in that meeting, there was several sessions of minutes that were going to be approved or not approved. Now, Reed was hoping that they would just pass through, but those minutes were wrong and they omitted very important information. So Diemer, and Misjuns did not agree to pass those minutes. Then a huge hours-long drama ensued. Now, why didn't Diemer, and Misjuns want to pass the minutes? What did they omit? They omitted the advice that Deputy City Manager Greg Patrick and City Attorney Matt Freedman had given to council regarding the real estate tax. And it was a whole complicated scenario of all tangled web of deceit and lies that resulted in your taxes going up and the city manager's salary going up and staff salary going up again. So we're going to take a look at those minutes. And what you're going to be watching is the efforts of Stephanie Reed to pass those minutes in a block again and again and again, and to convince the mayor that it was fair, although it was completely unethical to all the citizens. But you're going to be watching that, and you're going to be watching Diemer struggling to get the mayor to understand that the minutes are wrong, and that the fact that the city attorney even looked at the minutes and even told the city clerk what to omit is extremely wrong. So take a look at this, and it's really very shocking. Here we go.
Board general business now being the minutes. That would be June 10th, June 23rd, June 24th, June 30th, and July 8th.
So it sounds like the parliamentarian just gave you discretion to decide if you're going to rule on his objection. And once you do that, then we get to speak to our motions. So if you believe that what the parliamentarian has said is that we can actually vote on this other block,
Yes.
then you can rule that and then we can speak. There is absolutely no reason to hijack this meeting. Mayor, I implore you to allow us to call this vote. Stop playing games with times. We just had a meeting upstairs about our rules. We gave them the time. Our wonderful clerk has done her job, and she gave them an answer that they did not want to hear. But she gave it. She did everything right by the book. She has not modified or done anything that is a misrepresentation of our meetings. We need to move on.
Mr. Mayor.
One, that we include in our minutes of our meeting city staff's advice that without a vote of council, the real estate rate would have defaulted to 89 cents. In sum, the minutes should reflect the inaccurate advice of city staff regarding the default real estate rate, an incorrect interpretation of law that the city attorney still has not acknowledged, that it resulted in spending driving policy rather than policy driving spending.
Member Reed stated that was a shock to me, is that the city attorney was involved in reviewing the minutes. That's news to me. I didn't know that. So now the same attorney that gave us that advice also weighed in on whether or not that was germane to the minutes.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I mean, that's what I think you just said, Mr. Mayor.
Please don't interrupt.
I'm being interrupted by a staff member, Mr. Mayor, and I don't appreciate that.
Because you're an ass.
So I'm unsure how advice from a professional deputy city manager and city attorney that leads to the decisions of the governing body is not germane. You got to rule the point of
order. You have to rule.
My point of order is for us to move forward.
That's not his point of order.
So I'll just put this out there for the record to the staff. I'd like to know where from the Lynchburg Democrat Committee's YouTube video that shows fully documented a vote by the city council that is not recorded in the minutes, that is not published.